Hello, Kehilat Darchei Tzion, Erev Shabbat, Parashat Chayei. Our Parashat deals with Avraham preparing for the next stage. He realizes that he's not going to live eternally. He realizes that he's old and he wants to make sure that Yitzchak builds a good home and continues his household. David HaMelech in Haftarah is also old and is also seemingly getting close to his deathbed. Things seem to be coming to the end. And not like Avraham, David in our Haftarah, in the first part of the story, David is very, very passive. And everything is happening around him. Everyone around him is preparing for the next day. And Adoniah ben Chagit, David's son, announces, Ani emloch, I am going to be king. And he starts gathering support, soldiers, and he has leaders with him, and he has really great support from David's followers and from the people, and it seems like Adoniah is going to be king. Natan HaNavi won't have it. Natan HaNavi goes to Bathsheba, and he makes sure that Bathsheba should remind him of what he promised her, but that Shlomo HaMelech, Bathsheba's son, he will be the next king. He is going to be the one that will lead after David. And the story continues after the Haftarah that David makes sure that this happens. And David, suddenly from passive and really someone who doesn't have any strength and abilities, gets up and makes sure that the next generation will be led by Shlomo and not by Adoniah ben Chagit. What is the big difference between Adoniah and Shlomo? So we have the promise of David to Bathsheba. We have an idea of tshuva, which is a very important idea, that Bathsheba is a constant reminder of what David did wrong, with the famous story about David and Bathsheba. And from all the family, her son is the one who's been chosen to be the king by the prophet, by the Navi, and by David, constantly maybe reminding people how power can be problematic. And maybe that will lead Shlomo to have more humility, to have the whole country following good values. But there's another difference. When we read Adoniah ben Chagit, when we see what he has to say, he says, Ani emloch, I'm going to reign. I will be the king. But when Bathsheba comes in and talks to David, she emphasizes again and again a double issue. Shlomo will be king after David, and he will sit on his throne. V'hu yeshev al kis'i. Once and again she says it. I think maybe 3 times in the Haftarah. She repeats this idea of V'hu yeshev al kis'i. What does that mean, Hu yeshev al kis'i? That David said that Shlomo will sit on his throne. We're talking about someone who will continue David's household. Not just that his son will be king after him, but the continuation of Beit David, of the households of David, the lineage of David, is not just something that goes through genealogy. Is he biologically the son of David? But through the values of Modiin, in his lessons on the Haftarah, says that why is the Navi Natan interfering so much? Because he realizes that Adoniah doesn't have in his plans, it doesn't seem like he really cares about Beit HaMikdash. It's his power and his respect. That's all he cares for. And David HaMelech has these plans for building Beit HaMikdash, has spiritual plans for the nation. We're looking for someone not only to be David's son to lead the nation, but we're looking for someone to lead the nation according to the correct values. The values of tshuva, the values of Mikdash, the values of Torah. That is what we're looking for. V'hu yeshev al kisi. Shlomo is the one who's fitting for this position, and not Adoniah. Therefore, the Navi interferes. And this, of course, corresponds greatly with the parasha. It's not enough, says Avraham, that Yitzchak get married. He needs to get married to someone from a culture that is not part of Eretz Canaan, and better so, from the culture from Haran, where Avraham grew up. And then Avraham's servant goes to Haran, and he finds not just a person from where Avraham lived, but someone who is culturally very similar to Avraham, continuing with the values of Achnasat Orchim, of Chesed, these ideas. This is what continues Avraham's household. Similarly to the Haftarah, where we say we're not looking just for the son to be the king after David, but rather Yeshev al Kis'i, someone to continue David's heritage, someone to continue his values and to help Am Yisrael grow and prosper and lead Am Yisrael in the correct path and values. Shabbat Shalom.